Guess what episode number this is?
I have a good idea what I can guess.
Go for it. What's your guess?
69?
Bingo. Nice.
Bingo.
Yeah, episode 69, and we'll have a special guest later in the episode that returner that we've had a couple of times before. We're going to bring Mike Boyle back on to talk about the upcoming season and kind of get
Nice.
his thoughts on where the team's going and kind of what we should be looking forward to, and just kind of catch up with him and see how his summer was with the Indians and everything too. So that'll be fun here in a little bit.
Nice.
Prior to that, we're just gonna do a little quick recap of the preseason and kind
Okay.
of get our overall thoughts and go from there.
Sounds good.
First of all, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well today. I feel like I've turned a corner in my rehab stuff. Although I guess I can't really call it rehab anymore. I guess we're more in the recovery stage, maybe.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what? They say that it takes about 6 months to recover from a stroke like I had, and we're about 3 months in now. So I feel like I'm ahead of schedule a little bit too. And um, we'll do a video later this week showing where I was moving about 3 months ago and how I'm moving now. I'm back to driving, obviously, and doing those kind of things. And walking felt very smooth starting yesterday for some reason too. I didn't feel like I had a little catch in my step anymore.
Good. Hell yeah.
Everything felt very smooth. So,
Just in time to be start climbing those stairs up to section 205 every weekend.
which we did a little bit the other day for the first time
Yeah, we did.
for a preseason game.
The one preseason game. Pleasantly surprised that they allowed us to sit up there for the preseason game
I
because
was too.
I remember a few years back we had that game at the arena preseason against Tri-City, and they had the entire upper bowl
Upper
curtained
section.
off.
Yeah, we had to sit down below. Yeah.
But yeah, nice to be able to get up there and kind of see some of the season ticket holders that we know around us and
Yes.
and and watch some a pretty exciting hockey game, honestly. I mean,
It ended up being that way. Yes.
kind of a barn burner, but um
Chiefs kicked it into gear in third period,
yeah,
thankfully.
they did. But we'll before we get into that game, we'll go back to the first two games over in Everett, the preseason classic over in Everett. The
Yes.
Chiefs had their first game on the 5th against Seattle. And right away, 11 seconds into the first period, Mathis Preston finding the back of the net from a nice feed from Chase Harrington. Seattle would answer back quickly couple minutes later with a pair of goals from Brock Englund and Kai Richards. And then it was pretty much all Chiefs from there. Mathis Preston gets his second of the game with about 2 minutes to go in the first. Newcomer Gavin Burkhardt gets on the board early in the second period to give the Chiefs a 3-2 lead. Gavin Burkhardt would get another one 7 minutes after that to give the Chiefs a 4-1 lead. And then Ozzie McIntyre getting in on the action less than a minute later. I think he's looked pretty good this preseason so
He
far.
has, from what I've seen,
Um,
yes.
Pretty physical. I mean, it looks like he's grown a little bit too, I think.
It seems like he's gotten a lot taller and a little bit wider too.
Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of a sleeper guy to look out for this year. Owen Martin would get on the board late in the second period, and then third period, three newcomers: Tristan Buckley getting his first goal of the preseason, Elias Poole, the German import player, getting his first, and then Ethan Hughes, that guy from Moose Jaw that we ended up getting to come to our camp, gets his first goal of the preseason there about halfway through the third period, and that would be all she wrote. Chiefs get the first win of the preseason, the first game 9-3 over Seattle. And then following day over in Everett, the Chiefs faced Portland, and this one was all Chiefs from the
Yes.
get-go.
We like
Um,
seeing that against Portland.
oh, we love it. I mean, there's nothing better than that. It's funny that game at the arena against Portland. Right when I got back to my car, I had the window rolled down, and I don't remember what I was doing. I was just sitting on my phone or something, and some other fans that parked on the other side of the street from me were talking as they were walking to their cars, and the guy said something like, "I don't give a shit if it's preseason. I always love beating those Portland guys." And I looked at him and I said, "You know what? Me too. It feels so good."
It does.
Yeah, pretty much all Chiefs here. Cam Parr, Cohen Harris, uh, getting goals early in the first and second periods, respectively. And then Tristan Buckley, Gavin Burkhardt, um, and then Castle Ferner, another newcomer who I think is going to make some noise this year. 19-year-old BCHL guy that made the jump this year. And then Brody Gillespie gets his first of the preseason late in the third period. So the Chiefs win that game 7-0, out shooting Portland 38-22. Love seeing that as well. One for
Right.
two on the
Picking
power
up where
play.
they were left off last year, out shooting. the opponent. I like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And how about that game Wednesday at the arena? I mean, a lot of scoring.
The first period was exciting to watch. Second
No,
period, not so much, but third period
yeah.
again was exciting to watch.
Yeah, no lack of offense for sure.
No.
Lots of penalties called. I think the officials are still getting in there. They're still in preseason form as well.
Yeah, but
Um,
Chiefs were also a little undisciplined too.
yeah, no doubt. Taking two double minor high sticking penalties in the first
Yes.
period alone is not very good. But other than that, I mean, Jake Gustafson got Portland on the board early in the first period, and then it was all Chiefs after that. Ethan Hughes gets the first double minor for high sticking midway through the first period, and then right when he gets out of the box, Caslow Ferner hits him on just a dime of a pass from the behind the goal line, and he
Yes.
sends him in on a breakaway, and he makes a nice move to beat the goaltender to score. And then, I mean, shit, not even 20 seconds later, Ethan Hughes gets the chance to, on a penalty shot as well from net
Mm-hmm.
front scramble. Portland player covered their hand over the puck, and Ethan Hughes ended up getting the penalty shot awarded for that, and he came in and sniped it. So his second goal in 17 seconds. Um, so I was pretty impressed with him right there. Just that little exchange that he had in that short amount of time. Cohen Harris gets his first of the night 5 minutes after that, and the Chiefs have a 3-1 lead at that point. Sam Oremba scores his first of the night late in the first period to put the Chiefs up 4-1 after the first period. So I mean, yeah, pleasantly surprised. Not well, shouldn't say surprised, but I was delighted with the results of that first period. I mean, what we saw 17-9 out shooting Portland there. Obviously, taking the amount of penalties that we did is not ideal, but
No.
I mean, like I said on a post that I made after the game, I said, that's something that can be tweaked and kind of um, be fixed before the regular season starts this Friday.
Yes.
But second period, man, I don't know what it was, but it was not pretty. Portland came out with a fire under their ass, and the Chiefs just looked very flat on their feet and continued to take penalties, which Portland did end up taking advantage of twice, starting a minute into the second period. And then about halfway through the second, they score another power play goal to get within one. Then late in the second, they end up getting on the board once again to tie it up at four going into the third period. So I was like, well, it looks like we got a hockey game now. And then
Yeah.
the Chiefs decided, yeah, we're not okay with that. And Smith Redmond scores his first goal of the night on the power play 18 seconds into the third period. Cohen Harris would get his second of the night shortly after that. And then Sam Oremba with a snipe from between the circles at the 6:02 mark. And then Cohen Harris wraps it up with a hat trick late in the third period to give the Chiefs an 8-4 win over Portland, staying undefeated in the postseason or the preseason at that point. What was kind of your overall takeaway from that game? Like what kind of stood out to you most? Like what offense,
Watching,
defense?
I thought it was the speed that we had offensively, but our defense was good, solid too, all around from everybody. There was none of the defensive lapses that we've seen in previous years with
Yeah,
previous teams. Not that that's not going to happen, but it didn't happen that game, which was nice.
right.
And Oremba too. He looked rejuvenated. He looked like he was he was fired up. He was going hard for being preseason, especially too. That was a nice thing for me to see too. I feel like I don't want to say he's looked like a lazy player last year, but he had some jump to him in that preseason game.
I thought he did too. I think that could be another guy that could sneaky get 25, 30 goals this
Me
year.
too. Me too.
It's a 20-year-old, maybe kind of a Shea Van Olm type situation
Yes.
there.
Yes. Agreed.
Um, so the Chiefs had a couple of days. Actually, they didn't have a couple of days off. The very next night, they're down in Tri Cities, and they get back-to-back games against Seattle and Tri City for their preseason tournament down there. The Chiefs would continue their scoring touch there in the first game against Seattle. Harry Mattern with his first goal of the preseason, 16-year-old defenseman, 2 minutes into the game, and then Cohen Harris scoring his fifth of the preseason. Um, Less than
Nice.
a minute later, Coco Armstrong gets on the board late in the first period, so it's 3-0 Chiefs, and it would stay that way until Brody Gillespie gets his second of the preseason late in the third period, and the Chiefs pick up a 4-0 shutout over Seattle. Linus Viard in net for that game. Love seeing those numbers from that guy.
Yes.
Um, and then the next day, the Chiefs unfortunately don't get to end the preseason undefeated. Looking at the stat sheet from this game, it looks like it was a story old as time with Tri-City's goaltending just kind of stealing the show in this game. The Chiefs out shooting them 46 to 26, and unfortunately did lose by a score of 4-2. Mathis Preston and
We've seen that before where we outshot them 2-1 in
yeah,
shots and
yeah,
having their goaltender steal a game.
yeah.
We're used to seeing that out of Tri Cities for
Ain't
sure.
that the truth? Them for sure. Mathis Preston and Nolan Bisson getting the only two goals for the Chiefs in the first period, and then Tri-City would end up getting three in the third to take the 4-2 win. But 4-1-1 or 4-1-0 in the preseason for the Chiefs. So I would say pretty successful, and get
Yes,
ready to start the regular season this Friday up in Kelowna with I think we have a game on Saturday in Kamloops as well.
nice.
So got it, hockey season is right around the corner, and I mean, what were your overall thoughts on obviously we were only able to watch that one preseason game, but just
Yeah,
kind of based off all the stats and
just the
is that
youth and the speed, and it seems like the concept is going to be to get up the ice quick. We noticed that a little bit in camp too, from
Mhm.
everything. The emphasis seemed to be to get up the ice as fast as you can.
Were there any players that you really noticed? Because there were a couple that really stood out to me.
In the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Cohen Harris with the hat trick, obviously.
Obviously,
I thought he
he
looked
looked
pretty
good.
good.
I
I
can't remember now. Remember, I've had a brain injury, so my memory sometimes goes,
That's fair. That's fair.
especially short term.
I thought Cohen Harris, Ozzie
Er,
McIntyre, and Gavin
Ozzy was
Burkhart's
good.
line.
Ozzy had like three apples, I think.
Yeah, I think that line with him,
That whole line was
Harris
good.
and
Yes,
Burkhart was really good. Gavin Burkhart, I think, looks great. I really impressed with Castle Ferner as well. Um, Defensively, I thought Bryson Roberts was great.
he was good. Yes.
He really stood out to me, and so did Caden Campion, number 44, another
Hmm.
California-born player. Thought he looked great, and honestly, I think Carter Esler had a pretty good game between the pipes too.
He did. He looked good in camp too. So, but yeah, he definitely played that preseason game. He looked good.
So now you get the preseason out of the way and regular season starting this week, and get the amateur recaps out of the way, and now we'll bring on the big guns with Mr. Mike Boyle here soon.
That'll be nice.
And
See what he
yeah,
has to say.
and we'll send it over to him now.
All right.
Well, we know hockey season is right around the corner when we get the voice of the Chiefs on the show. So,
Thank
Boiler,
goodness.
the Indian season just ended last week, I believe, and now we got another 4 days, 5 days before the Chiefs start up for the year. First of all, how was your summer? And kind of catch us up on everything that's been going on.
Well, it was it was a quick summer. With the Chiefs playing as long as they did last year, I was double dutying until mid-May. And so that's basically the first month and a half of baseball. And once I got into baseball full time, it just flew by. I mean, absolutely flew by. Um, and next thing you know, I'm taking the kids to school day after Labor Day and heading to Eugene for the final Indian series of the year. So, yeah, that just finished up a week ago Sunday, and been pretty much trying to shift gears and get ready for hockey and monitoring how the Chiefs have been doing in the preseason
Hmm.
and getting some of the new names down. Had a chance to catch them at camp, which was great because the schedule with the Indians had us in town during that. So I got to take that in and do the red white game, and then got to go to the home exhibition game against Portland.
Hmm.
So uh, lucky that I got to see him as much as I did. So, there have been years where I haven't seen anybody until the opener. And
Right.
so it really worked out well this year, and feel a little more confident going in to this year than I did, say, 2 years ago when I didn't see them at all.
Right. Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
it
I was
feel
gonna.
kind of strange to have a postseason to watch this year too? Because it's been a while since we've had a postseason to watch.
Yeah, I mean it was great. I mean, it was exciting to see how far that young team went
Yes.
last year. I mean, I don't think anyone expected them to get to the league final. But it just so happened that, the Andrew Crystal deal really solidified that team up front.
Yeah.
And they went to a different level offensively when he came along. And after he had played probably a week with us, it was like, man, we could really make a good run
Hmm.
here
Mhm.
with this group, and that certainly turned out to be the case. And sometimes you got to have a little luck go along the way. We didn't really have very many serious injuries. I mean,
Right.
that's always a big part of it. Um, and the fact that Portland upset Everett, I
Yeah.
thought was huge because when I looked at the matchup. Everett, I thought, would give us a much more difficult
Hmm.
matchup than Portland.
For
And when
sure.
Portland won it, I was like, oh boy, that really opened a door for us because we really feel confident playing that group. We've played well against them all year, and it showed in the playoffs. I mean, you don't take out a team four straight normally in that level as far
No.
as a final is concerned in the conference. And so I really felt good about us going into that league final, but I also knew that Medicine Hat was a juggernaut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
and
were. That's the
and
truth.
they proved it. I mean, they proved it because after we won game two, I was coming home driving and saying, you know what, we got a shot in this thing because we really played well tonight. But it seemed like the Tigers just kind of took their game
Yes.
to the next level, and we just weren't able to match it on a 60-minute basis.
Yeah, game one, I was a little bit concerned. I mean, they came out and just completely caught us flat-footed. And then,
Yep.
game two comes around. I'm like, okay, we can kind of hang with these guys. And then, come back to Spokane, and it's like watching McKenna and Lindstrom and all those guys. I mean, it was a completely different level. I mean, those guys are an AHL team playing, a really good junior hockey team, in my opinion. That's exactly
Yeah.
how it went.
They were a different level, and they proved it. I mean, they got all the way to the Mem Cup final,
Hmm.
and came close to winning it all. And I knew they would because
Yeah.
after the way they played against us, I said, boy, it's going to take an extraordinary team, and I knew London would be that club. I
Yeah,
mean,
London was just a juggernaut.
oh, I mean, you're talking about AHL level. I mean, that's
Yeah, no
that's
kidding.
that's pretty darn close
No
with
kidding.
how many guys that are NHL prospects on that club, 9, 10 guys that they had. I mean, and they showed it. They started a little slow, I thought, in the tournament, but as it went along, they got better and better. And by
Hmm.
the final, they were just a well-oiled machine, no doubt
Hmm.
about
Kind of backtracking to the end of the Chiefs season and the beginning of Indians, when you were doing those double duties, what was that like?
it.
I mean, the social media for the Chiefs were kind of doing little packages on it every once in a while and showing, but what overall was that like? Was that like really difficult to do?
It, I wouldn't say difficult, but it was kind of like finals week in college, where you really had days where, okay, I've got three finals today,
Right.
and I've really got to distribute how I'm going to go about studying for each one. And so that's how it kind of was, is that I knew that the Indians came first during the day. So when I went to bed at night, that was what I was looking at. And so I got up the next day, it was still fresh in my mind, and then I could finish what I needed to do and bang, go and do the ball game. But it's like as soon as I signed off of that broadcast, my mind went totally to the Chiefs. And it was like, okay, we're playing Victoria tonight. Oh, I got to go through the lineups here, do all the stat work. And I would, get my stuff and run up to the booth. And it was basically just, cramming before you walked into the exam room.
Hmm.
You're writing down what you need to get done and have it ready to go. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of adrenaline. Um, and the way the games went, I mean, it was crazy. That first doubleheader where Indians played really well, but they did it in a short period of time, thank goodness. And
Yeah.
and then you go two overtimes
Yeah.
with Victoria, and I was on the air when I totaled it up. It was a little over 8 hours.
That's
Um,
insane.
yeah, and yet, as exciting as it was, the overtime and the second overtime, it carried me through the whole thing. I mean, I'd had no problem getting through it. And everyone, how's your voice? I said, well, it definitely needed a little rest at the end. But at the same time, you kind of prepare yourself for that too.
Yeah.
So I was ready for it and, look forward to doing it again because I'm sure that somewhere down the road, and it could be as early as next postseason, I'm going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah, taking that into account going in, like from what you've been able to see from the Chiefs in the camp and preseason so far, what are you what are you thinking the team's going to be like this year?
Well, I'm really excited about this forward group. This will be my 24th year doing the team.
Hmm.
This for me is the best forward group we've had from 1 to 14. I mean, I'm really excited about the younger guys. Um, the veteran guys, you kind of know what you're getting. Um, and it looks like they're picking up right where they left off. And you're looking for guys that were the 16s last year to taking that next step.
Hmm.
Cohen Harris in particular looks like
Hmm.
he's ready to do that
That's the one
this
guy
year.
that I've really noticed in the preseason.
Yeah, he was pretty easy to notice with. I mean, last year he had a lot of speed, but he seemed like the gerbil in the wheel, where it just didn't seem to lead to anything productive offensively. Did a lot of good things, but I think this year he's out of the wheel and
Yeah.
he's going to start making plays and doing things that you were hoping to see. And that's a big jump. 16 to 17, it's a big jump in the Western Hockey League, and I'm really looking forward to his progress. Mathis Preston, I mean, you just can't wait to see what develops there
Yeah.
because he's a kid that as good as he was last year, this year and next he's going to be special.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
we talked about Berkeley Catton's progression before, going from 16 to 17 to
Hmm.
18. I see that in Mathis as well. And so looking forward to those young guys, but Ozzie McIntyre, I'm really excited to see what he does in his 16-year-old season.
Hmm.
He got a lot of experience for a 15 last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to hit the ground running this year. And his chemistry with Cohen Harris has been outstanding in the
He looks like he
preseason
grew
thus
quite a
far.
bit too in camp,
He did. He did. And
up
that's
and out.
yeah, that's kind of the fun part, looking at what he does as far as his physical development is
Hmm.
concerned. Because the skill level is there,
Yes.
but his ability to be able to play on a nightly basis as a 16-year-old is going to be the same thing that Berkeley went through when he
Yeah.
was a 16, coming off his 15-year-old season where he went through the playoff round against Kamloops. It's going to be fun to see how those guys develop. But then you look at some of the younger guys too that really haven't seen a lot of time. And then there's the older guys too that were brought in. With the situation with the NCAA and kind of pilfering older guys as well from the talent pool. I look at Ethan Hughes, and
Hmm.
he's a
Yeah.
guy for me that I just go, boy, he could be a difference maker for this club this year. I'm really looking forward to that because
Yeah.
I really liked what I saw out of him during the preseason. I thought he was
Hmm.
outstanding. Uh,
Quick, gritty. He's got a
yes.
hell of a shot, good with hands. I mean, yeah, I agree.
Yep. I mean, just and doing little things. I mean, I was watching things, off the puck and doing things away from the play that he did. I was really impressed with him, and I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do in this early part of the season. And you can go on down the line of guys, both on up front and on the back end, but the forward group's the one that really excites me.
Hmm.
I look at from top to bottom. I'm going to look at our four lines this year. I'm going to be hard pressed to find anyone in the league that's going to be as deep as we are up front this year.
Which is a crazy jump from where we were last. I mean, we were pretty, consistent all four lines last year, but looking at the depth that we have now and then the experience that those young guys got
Yes.
last year too is going to pay off in dividends.
Oh, no question. I mean, you look at the 18 group with Chase Harrington and Owen Martin, and they've been here 3 years. This will be their
Hmm.
third year
Hmm.
that they've been here, And so they're going to be guys that are going to be top two line guys that are going to be taking that next step. I'm really looking forward to see what Harry does this year
Me too.
because I think he's a kid that's been often overlooked in what he's done.
Agreed.
Had some big goals in the playoffs last year. He's a kid that is a little bit of everything that you're looking for. Has great speed, tremendous shot, great hands. I mean, he's got all the tools right there. I think it's just a matter of just putting it all together. And I think he's going to be in a situation this year where he'll be able to flourish. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, him, Preston, and Owen Martin, I think are
Yeah.
like we last episode we did the kind of a bold predictions, and I said Mathis Preston's going to score 40 goals this year, and I definitely can see that being a possibility.
Oh, no question. No
Um,
question. I can see it too. I mean, he's he's a kid that I mean, and he showed it at the Holinka Gretzky.
oh, he was
I
Yes.
mean,
insane.
he was the most dominant offensive force in that tournament. Where he'd get the puck and it was just like, oh, what's going to happen?
Hmm.
And you could see it in the fans and the announcers' reactions as well. It's like every time he got the puck, it's like, oh, here we go. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of that this year with him because as I said, he's a special player. They don't come along all the time, but he's one of those guys where you say, boy, you'll look back and go, boy, I'm so glad I called his games.
Yeah, no
Yes.
kidding. Um, we touched on the NCAA rule change a little bit. What do you kind of expect from that? I mean, obviously we're learning more and more about it as time goes on, and I think you're going to see a completely different landscape around the league this year, completely. And we're seeing that already with the Chiefs. I mean, you have these guys like Castle Ferner and Gavin Burkhardt coming in and stuff like that. How do you think the style of play going to change at all? Do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think the style is going to change at all. I think what you're going to see, it's opening some opportunities um, for some older guys that maybe wouldn't have had it before. Um, they've been kind of the fringe guys that ended up going to the BCHL
Hmm.
instead of in the Western Hockey League. I think it really opens the door for them. It's also, I think, going to emphasize how good your young guys are going to have to be. Uh, in that 16 to 18 group, you're going to have guys that contribute. And it may not necessarily be in goals, but they've got to contribute defensively. They've got to contribute in faceoffs. They've got to contribute on special teams. They've got to be difference makers out there. And the team that or teams that do it best as far as developing those guys, drafting and developing that 16 through 18, are going to have the most success because eventually, when these guys get to be draft eligible, the NCAA is going to be an awful attractive option for them. I mean, if Gavin McKenna can leave a championship team and being probably the number one pick in the draft to go to the NCAA, then anyone will.
100%.
Anyone will. And, I think that the big disadvantage for junior hockey and the CHL, they just don't have the money to throw at kids that the NCAA can.
Right.
Money talks. I mean, you're a Canadian kid like McKenna that's, from Whitehorse, Yukon, and you're getting a school offering over $1 million a year to come play for you.
Oh yeah, no brainer.
Who's going to say no?
Yeah, no
I'm
Right.
brainer.
certainly not. I mean, and I can't blame them at all for doing it. So I think that's what you're going to run into is that, your top prospect guys, once they're 18 years of age, you're probably not going to hang on to them
Yeah.
unless there's, an extraordinary circumstance where, the kid really likes the team they're playing with, or it's a family situation, or whatever it could
Right.
be. It's going to take a special circumstance because those schools are going to come calling and they're going to throw that money out there, and their families are going to look at each other and go, we're an injury away from never realizing that in a professional sense. We can get
Right.
it now
Right.
with a 4-year education. You're dumb not to do it.
Hmm.
So I'm going to be curious to see what the CHL does over time to counteract that.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to come up with the numbers, but they're going to have to do something. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Because if you don't do anything, then you're going to continue to lose kids that are 17, 18,
Mhm.
19 that are going to take the college route as soon as they're able to because money talks. That's a
Oh,
simple
without a
fact of the
doubt.
matter.
Yeah, without a doubt. I and to go along with that, I read something actually at the exhibition game the other day that the CHL, as of this year, is going to be requiring NCAA scouts to purchase tickets to come to their games now instead of just letting them in or whatever.
Yes.
I think that's kind of the first step that they're taking because I don't think that they really realized how many players were going to jump ship right away.
Right.
I think that really kind of, I mean, it caught me by surprise. So I'm sure it caught them too.
Well, no doubt. I mean, and I think the benchmark, the example, if you will, is Victoria.
Oh
I
God,
mean,
Yes.
yeah.
they got absolutely gutted
Yeah.
by the NCAA. They lost
Hmm.
all of their top guys.
Hmm.
It's like they're starting from scratch. And I think that was the 10 bell alarm that went off where it was like, oh, wait a minute. We can't have this happen
Yeah.
to a team that was probably going to be one of the favorites in the Western Conference this year.
Yeah.
And now you've lost Reshny and you've lost Verhoff. I mean, you can go down the list, but you've lost your two best players right off the hop.
Hmm.
And so I think that wasn't a surprise to me when I heard that they weren't going to be giving away the free passes anymore. Because let's face it, they were basically opening the door and allowing the NCAA guys to walk into their house and say, "Hey, come on to my house and you can enjoy a better party."
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it was. It's just, okay, hey, we're allowing them to just walk in and take whoever they want. Well, now if you're going to take the time and effort, you're going to pay for it. And,
Yeah.
maybe it's, a meaningless ticket price, but whatever. We're not just going to give it to you for free and let you walk in and take what you want. I mean, I
Yeah.
that's not a surprise for me that that
Yeah.
happened.
It's also symbolic. Yes.
No question.
Yeah.
No question. I mean, you're basically letting people know that, hey, you're not just going to walk in here and steal people. I mean,
Yes.
uh, and then I think what you're going to see next is the limiting of access.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
comes not just at games, but, prior to games, hotel lobbies, practice sites, whatever. I mean, I think, you're going to see um, them say, you know what, no in-person meetings.
Yeah.
If you want to recruit somebody, then you go about doing it on their time away from the rink, and then you can do whatever. But I don't think that there's going to be any kind of access being given to these guys as we move forward.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But yeah, like I said, I really think the whole situation just caught the CHL by surprise when you got guys immediately jumping ship, and then you got Gavin McKenna with the rumors that he was going to transfer, and
Yeah.
then obviously coming to play. Medicine Hat got gutted too.
Yep. They
Caden
did.
Lindstrom, Ryder Ritchie, Gavin McKenna. I mean, they lost a ton of guys, and I actually was just watching the showcase games up in Yukon, Medicine Hat and Kelowna last
Mhm.
weekend, and I think part of the reason why they did that was because of Gavin McKenna, and he wasn't even there to play.
Exactly. That was the primary reason why they did it. I mean, a chance for the hometown kid to come back and play at home, and he's not even there because he's
Hmm.
already said sayonara, and he's in State College, Pennsylvania. So yeah, it's been especially hard, and as you said, I think it's been a little more accelerated, quicker than what people at the CHL were expecting.
Yeah.
And I can see that because I was caught off guard a little bit, thinking, okay, it's going to take a little bit of time as they're going to go after older guys. And now when they got McKenna, that to me was like, whoa, okay,
Hmm.
the gloves are off now, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of when the AFL signed Joe Namath from the NFL
Hmm.
in the 60s. It was the same thing for NFL owners. It was just like, oh, hey, we've got to work something out here because we can't afford to lose marquee guys like this to the other
Yeah,
league who are going to make that other league better. And it's going to be interesting to see what transpires. I think in the end, there's going to be some kind of a working agreement between the two um, that's going to emphasize the strengths of both. Uh, Now, what that is, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. But I think when you get down to it, for the good of the sport, for the good of the NCAA, for the good of the CHL, they have to work out some kind of an agreement
100%.
to say, okay, here's what it's going to be. Here's what you're allowed. Because right now it's the wild, wild west, and it's almost like NIL where there's no regulation, and it's just like, okay, hey, we just grab who we can grab and go. No, I think you're going to get to a point where it's going to be okay. You're not going to be allowed to recruit anyone under the age of 18.
Yeah. I could definitely see that
You know?
being kind of a point where they make that like Keaton Verhoff and those guys
Yeah.
in their draft eligible season this year,
Yep.
and obviously making the jump. And I mean, there's been a lot of guys in the U.S. division that have jumped ship already. The Chiefs are, I mean, quite frankly, they're lucky that they haven't run into that. I mean, knock on wood. But
Yes.
Tri-Cities losing Jackson Smith was huge, huge loss
Oh,
for them.
yes.
The Chiefs, obviously, Dawson Cowan, but who knows if he would have ended up coming back as a 20-year-old regardless. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs are pretty lucky in that aspect.
Well, they are. And I think the Chiefs realize that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no question that, you know, someone like Chase Harrington or Owen Martin or Mathis Preston
Hmm.
could have been signing somewhere
Yeah.
and saying, hey, this is my last year or I'm not coming back. I mean,
Right.
could easily happen. And the fact is that it still could.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that's worrisome is that that still could happen, um, especially if the team's successful.
Right.
And success breeds a lot of envy and a lot of scrutinization and a lot of guys marking their territory and saying, you
Yeah.
know what, hey, we got to get this guy. We got to get this guy. We
Hmm.
got to get this guy. It's no different than being drafted by an NHL scout. If you're on a bad team, you probably don't get noticed. But if you're playing on a club that's playing into May for 2, 3 years in a row, chances are very good someone's going to take you because they've seen you enough in big situations,
Hmm.
championship situations, to say, you know what, they can play for us.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're done by March, they are generally going, dime a dozen.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, I have a couple more questions for you, Dad. There was one you wanted to ask about.
I can't remember what my question was. I'm enjoying this so much.
Mr. Brain injury over here.
Yes, exactly.
It was something about like how the guys are gonna like new guys are gonna like gel and fit in.
Just having all the talent on this team that we do. How do you keep everybody happy? Because there's enough young guys on here too. I mean, is that I know there's trades that happen. Obviously, as seasons go on too, but I feel like
right.
this team in particular, it's got enough talent on it. Is you got to worry about keeping everybody happy with their playing time and things too.
Well, I think that all comes down to your culture in your room,
Yes.
your leadership, and your guys setting the examples by saying, you know what? Hey, I was 16 once.
Yeah.
I had to wait my turn. Um,
And to be fair, injuries do happen. We've been pretty lucky last year, not worrying about that too. So
right, right. And the
yeah,
thing is that that's exactly what you pass along to them. Hey, you may be not playing as much this year, but you may have to
right,
at a moment's notice where we need you for a month because we lose one of our guys.
right.
And that can happen anytime. So you've got to be prepared and ready for that. And no question that the way you play through those situations is going to determine how you're playing your way going forward.
And in this case, with this team, which we've seen in previous years too, you got guys going off to World Juniors and things too. Sometimes you're missing those guys for a month at a time too, with those kind of things as well.
Well, no doubt. And you know that, with Berkeley Catton, I mean, we're probably going to be without him perhaps till end of October, early November
Right.
That was
at
one of my questions. Do you think he's coming
best.
back?
Well, a lot depends for me on what he does in the preseason. I mean, I would think the way the Kraken have been in the past, they've been extremely patient with guys.
Mhm.
And I think Shane Wright is a benchmark and a test marker for
Yeah.
Hmm.
that, where they said, you know what, we had a kid where we maybe rushed him a little bit
Mhm.
and it set him back a couple of years. I think they're going to be real careful not to do that with Berkeley. Um, this is my personal feeling. I think they do keep him for at least the first month of the season. How he does there will determine whether he's back or not. If he goes out and he's playing well and he's playing third, maybe even second line,
Yeah.
I doubt we see him. I,
Yeah.
I doubt we'll ever see him again. But if he comes out and struggles a little bit, and I don't think he's going to struggle from an offensive end, it's the defensive end
Mhm.
that I look at. And I know that he's going to need to really put the emphasis on. Lane Lambert's going to really look at that. You need a good D center man, especially when you're a third or even fourth line guy.
Yeah.
So if he's able to handle that and get through the rigors of playing against grown men on a nightly basis, he won't be back. But I mean, if he struggles a little bit and shows that he's 19 and and
Hmm.
he's having those struggles, then they'll probably go, he's better off served playing 30 plus minutes a night in junior than playing 12 to 13 minutes a night in the NHL.
Yeah. It's kind of where I'm going with it too. Like where it played off in my head is that I would say he gets 5 to 9 games in the NHL this year for
Yeah,
sure. And then like you said, late October, early November, that's about right. And then obviously he'll be off to World Juniors for Canada again, and we'll be
right.
losing Sarkinov will go for Kazakhstan. If they
Yes.
are they in it this year?
I think they are.
Yeah. So
I
so
think they are.
they'll be without Sarkinov, and then Linus Viard and
Yep.
Elias Poole. They'll be going as well for Germany. So
Yep.
and who knows if Mathis Preston, I mean, he's got the skills. Who knows?
Has a skill set, but generally with the Canadian teams, they're generally 19-year-old based.
Right, right.
Very rare that an 18, let alone a 17,
Yeah,
Right.
ever makes it, unless his name's Connor Bedard. Uh, I think that you got to think that, okay, we're going to lose Berkeley at least till then. And then remember, those guys leave early December
yeah,
Right.
for camp for the
right,
World Juniors. And so you're without them for another month until early
right.
January. Fortunately, the Christmas break's in there, so you don't have as many games to worry about. But still, you're probably losing them for probably 7, 8, 9 games,
Yeah,
depending on the schedule and their camps. So it's a good chunk that you're losing. And again, that's where these young guys have to be prepared and prepped and let them know that, hey, maybe you're not seeing a lot of time in early October, but come December you're going to be counted on
for
and you're
sure.
going to be playing regularly and you got to show us what you can do. So I'm looking forward to seeing who are those guys that step up and do it. That to me is going to be a big thing because I thought that was big last year
Hmm.
that we saw some guys take
Yeah.
those steps in December and January
Yes.
last year. And that really, I thought, got us going in the right direction by the time March and April came around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think going on the Eastern swing early again this year is going to be
Yes.
very
Yes.
beneficial for kind of getting those younger guys into the groove and kind of into the lifestyle of the CHL. Kind of bonding on the bus early on. I think it paid off in dividends for this team last year, and I can see it doing it again. And I'm so glad that we're going on this trip in the first month of the season again.
Oh, so am I. Believe
And
me.
get it out of the way for you early, all the
Oh
travel.
man, I'm telling you, I've had enough December, January, early February trips through the East and the Central over the years where the snow's up to my knees and
Oh yeah.
it's minus 30 out with wind chill. Yeah, I'm looking forward to where you can actually go outside without a coat and
Yeah.
know that you're going down the road and not having to worry about your bus sliding off the road. Those are benefits. So yeah, and as you said, it's a great chance for the team to bond and get together. And you hear coaches talk about that all the time, but it's not overstated.
Mm-mm.
A lot of these guys, they haven't played together a great deal, and now they're around each other all the time for
Right.
basically 2 weeks. And early in the year, where you've only played 4 or 5 games under your belt, now you get to go on the road and really kind of build that chemistry. So by the time you get back in late October, it's like, okay, we can start to build something here until the Christmas break.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's huge. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing how they start off the season because I think that's going to be a big key to see where they're going to be, throughout the entire season and who's going to step up. Obviously, we lost some guys last year, some key
Yeah.
scores.
Yep.
Shea Van Olm, Andrew Crystal, Braden Crampton. So you look for those guys one step below to take that step up. Losing Sage Weinstein too sucks. But it's good that he's able to make that jump to the next level for him. But defensively, I thought our defense looked very, very good in camp, and I'm really excited to see, Harry
Yes.
Mattern, Bryson
Yes.
Roberts. I thought they looked great. Caden Campion was another one that really stood out to me too. Are there any specific players that you really look to kind of make a huge step up this year, whether they be rookies or first, second year?
Well, if you're talking on the back end, you mentioned Harry.
Hmm.
I think that I was impressed with him last year as a 15 when he played, and I said, that's the toughest spot to be on the ice when you're a 15-year-old is back on that blue line. And
Hmm.
I thought he really carried himself well. Um, I'm looking forward to his development. Is he going to set the world on fire in October, November? No, he's going to have his learning
For
curve,
sure.
his learning pains, no question. They all do. I can remember Sage Weinstein at
Hmm.
16. And
Hmm.
all I can remember saying with Mark Gustafson is that I said, boy, wait till he gets to be 18, 19 years old. I mean,
Yes.
he's got all the tools there. He's just got to figure it out here. And he did. I mean,
Hmm.
he got to a point where he really, was one of the top D men in my mind in the league and one of the hardest to play against. And I think if you went around forwards in the Western Conference, and especially in the U.S. division, who was the toughest D-man to play against, his name was going to get mentioned more than once.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a loss not getting him back. But at the same time, great for Sager. I mean, he deserves it. He gets an opportunity now to prove it in Colorado's system. But he opens the door for young guys, and Harry Mattern is one. Bryson Roberts, I liked him last year too. He was
Hmm.
another guy I watched, and younger brother of Colton
Right.
Roberts from Vancouver, who's a very fine defenseman in his own right. So no question, there's some lineage there. I'm looking forward to seeing his game
Hmm.
come along because I think he's got a really high ceiling as to what he can do. You mentioned Campion. Yeah, that's the first time I've seen him,
Hmm.
and I was like, pretty solid. I didn't look back there and go, boy, he could be a liability. I didn't see that at all. I thought,
Hmm.
a good physical guy and was smart with the puck. That's the thing that, it's one thing to win the battle. It's that next step of what you do with the puck when you win it. And,
Exactly.
I thought he did a nice job in that area. And so, uh, there's so many of the young guys that I look at and just go, it's going to be exciting to see their development, and they're certainly going to get the opportunities. With all the guys at NHL camp, this
Hmm.
upcoming weekend is going to be huge for them. Because I remember in Prince George last year, there was one point between the Cougars and the Chiefs. Out of the 12 guys out there, I think six had cages on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it's like, okay, we're talking, 15s here, 16s,
Uh-huh.
that are out there running around that probably aren't going to be with the club here in another month. But it was fun to see their development. and how they came out and performed. Dane Pyatt was one of those guys out of that
Hmm.
weekend in Prince George that I was really impressed with. And I just thought it was a damn shame that he got hurt
Yes,
It
that
was.
seriously that he did because I thought he was one of our best forwards in those two games
he
in Prince
was.
George. And it really kind of set him back. But it's been nice to see him in camp this year. It seems like he's come back
Hmm.
and he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's showing that he feels he's worthy of being up there and playing on a regular basis.
Yeah, Pyatt looked great. You're talking about that Prince George series from last year. The one funny thing that sticks out to me is I remember Rhett say their 16-year-old playing top line with Braden
Yes.
Crampton in that game, and I'm just like, wow! Imagine making your WHL debut on the number one defensive line up there.
He did well.
He
I
did
mean, I
fantastic.
I remember coming out of camp last year thinking, this kid really's got a future. I love the way he handles the puck and
Hmm.
holds himself, and he did so well in the early going. I thought as time went along and his playing time diminished, that his game suffered a little bit. But I'm really looking forward to him being a guy that's going to be out there on a regular basis this year.
Oh,
I think,
yes.
he's going to just get better, much like Caden Allen did
Yeah.
last year.
Hmm.
I thought Caden started a little slow. I can remember the Eastern trip last year. He has had his struggles, but by the time we got down the stretch there in March, and he was out there on every three shifts on the D. And I thought, this is just a 16-year-old kid, but he's big, physical, can move the puck. I just think, as he grows and gets more confident, you're going to see other elements of his game develop, much like we saw with Nathan Mays when he
Hmm.
came along as a rookie to where he came to last year.
Completely agreed. I got one more question for you. It kind of goes along with some of the other teams in the league that we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Who do you see in the West that's going to
That
make
was one of my questions too.
the biggest splash? I think Cologne is going to be a wild card at least right now,
Yeah,
because
well, they got to make some moves.
yeah, I
Yes.
mean they made a lot in the offseason, obviously, but going from the bottom of the barrel all the way to they're trying to get it all the way to the top with obviously hosting the Memorial Cup. But
Yeah,
I think the Chiefs personally just would be the team to beat in the West, or at least in the US division.
no
Hmm.
question. No question.
But in the West, who's your pick?
Well,
Who do you see on paper?
well, I tell people all the time, I said, don't overlook Everett. You know, they got surprised last year,
Yes.
but they were a young club last year too.
Hmm.
And they've got a lot of guys back. And I think that that's going to serve as some motivation for them going forward into this year because a lot of people aren't talking about them. But I'm certainly talking about them. I certainly think they're going to be the team that's going to give the Chiefs their toughest competition from the U.S. for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I think Tri-City, Wenatchee, they're wild cards for me, especially Wenatchee. Uh, they were a young club last year too, and they had some guys that impressed me. And I think that if they take that next step this year, and they've certainly got the coach that will develop them in
Hmm.
snacks, he'll have them ready to go. Uh, I think they're going to be a club to keep your eye on. Portland, they surprised people last year, and they've got guys back. So I think that once they get their guys on board, you know they're going to be there. They're going to be
Hmm.
competing. Um,
They have
they
their winning
always
culture.
seem
They
to.
always have.
Yep, they always seem to. And so I have no doubts that they'll be there. I think Seattle's taken steps in the right direction too.
Hmm.
It's been a couple, 3 years since they've been at the top of the league, and they've got some good young guys that are going to be coming back this year. That I think that with Coots and that group, they're going to be another club that you better not take the night off against them, as the Chiefs found out late last year
Right.
when they got knocked off twice within a 2-week period by them. I think that, the U.S. division for me, again, is going to be the toughest division in the league.
As
I think,
always.
up and down. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be tough. And I think that's going to serve the Chiefs well because when you're having to play a tough opponent night after night, that sharpens you come playoff time. You're going to be ready for it. And so I'm looking forward to see how the team develops there. The BC division, on the other hand, before all of this hit with the NIL and everything, Victoria in my mind was going to be the
Yep,
team to beat.
me
But
too.
now it's going to be awful tough, even though they just made a trade getting Miles Cooper from
Hmm.
Wenatchee
They gave up a
today.
lot of picks.
And they did. They gave up an awful lot. And certainly that was what Wenatchee was looking for. They're still recovering from their days in Winnipeg
Right.
as far as gutting the cupboard there. So that was obviously a good trade for the Wild. But Cooper's certainly going to be a big addition for them up front. But I think they've got too much to overcome with that crew right now. Vancouver, though, I think they're going to be good. They played us tough in the first round last year.
Hmm.
A lot of guys back. Big difference is you don't have Manny Vivros guiding the ship anymore. Got a new
Right.
coach. How's that going to go with Vancouver? Kamloops, I think they're still, in that development stage. I think they'll be improved from last year, but I don't know how much. That's the wild card for me is that how much will they improve? Prince George, I think, is a club that, is going to fall off. I
Yeah.
mean, they lost a lot of guys from, that led them the last 2 years. Um, so it's going to be difficult for them going forward. And then the new club, Penticton,
Hmm.
who knows? I mean,
Yeah. That
it,
is a legitimate wild card right there.
they could be Everett from 2004 for all we
Right.
know. It just depends on how everything comes together for them. But I mean, they've got some decent players. I know Matteo Denis is going to be with that club. And I was impressed with him last year. So,
Hmm.
um, it's going to be interesting to see how it all dials out as the season goes along. But no question, for the Chiefs, it's going to be, an up and down thing because you're going to have a lot of young guys learning new systems, playing in the league for the first time. Some guys that were with us last year that are in more advanced roles, more asked out of them. Do they respond to that? That's going to be the big questions for me with the Chiefs going forward this season.
I lied. I do have one more question for you. I just
Okay.
thought of off the top of my head. With the goaltending situation, how do you think
Yeah.
it's going to be split this year?
Oh, well,
'Cause
obviously
I think
they
Carter
got.
Essler had a great showing in camp.
Oh, and I expected that from Messi because I know he wants the job.
Hmm.
But at the same time, the Chiefs were smart getting an experienced guy to be there to kind of lead the way.
Hmm.
I mean, Linus, I don't know how much you watched him in World Junior last year, but he was outstanding. I
Yeah, he
mean,
was.
I mean, he might have been the best goaltender in the tournament. And I heard we were getting. I said, "Whoa, that's a get for us."
Hmm.
And I think it's going to be great to have him there, more experienced guy, but at the same time, he's a new guy in the league. And
Right.
playing in North America for the first time on an extended basis can be an adjustment in a lot of
Hmm.
ways. And Elias will find the same thing. Um, I think that it's going to be nice that they're going to probably split game on, game off, game on, game off as we go into the beginning part of the year.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that by the time you get all say December, you're probably going to be seeing, okay, one guy might be getting 2 out of 3.
Right.
Um, I think that was, last year it wasn't a question because Dawson Cowan was the guy.
Yeah.
And Dawson was going to play 4 out of 5 games. And that was just the way it was. Um, but this year, I think you're going to see more of a split, especially early. I,
Hmm.
I don't think you're going to see, anyone settled on until we get, at least halfway into the year.
Goaltending was really good in training camp in the preseason. They
Yes.
had that third goaltender in Alex Watrin too, who actually ended up pitching a shutout against Seattle, I believe, and just played fantastic too. And that's going to be a guy that I think is going to have to come up at some point when Viard goes off to the World Juniors for Germany again too. So you're going to have a third goaltender in the mix, in December again.
Right. And
So
that's huge. I mean, there's the line I always hear, you can never have enough depth.
yep,
You
yeah,
can never have enough. You just can't. And the fact that you've got a kid like that is able to play as well as he did, I'm sure the message was to him, hey, work getting better, keep improving. You're getting your shot in December. Be ready
hmm
for the moment. I
yep,
mean, what do they say about luck? You know,
yeah,
when,
exactly.
when preparation meets opportunity. I mean, that's what getting your lucky chance, your lucky break is that preparation opportunity come together. And I think that's going to be a case for a lot of these younger guys that maybe not going to be seeing the roster or seeing a lot of time early, but certainly as the season goes along, going to be called upon to show what they can do, and they got to be ready.
No doubt, no doubt about it. That's all I have for you, Dad. You got any more questions?
It's just gonna ask what you thought of the makeup of this team in particular from the little bit we saw them in camp and preseason too. Defensively, I was impressed with how well everybody seemed to play defensive. Even the forwards too, getting back was a little bit different. And again, it's just camp and preseason. I understand that, but
Mhm. Well, I tell you, Chad, for me, that's the biggest thing I look at in camp is how defensively responsible are guys. Um, that exhibition game at home against Portland was a classic example that when you play defensive hockey in the first period, good
yes,
things happen. When you start playing shinny and getting sloppy and not taking care of business, then you look at the second period and the
right,
Ready to
mess
go.
that was. To their credit, and they did this an awful lot last year.
they did.
They regrouped and said, "Hey, let's get back on the bus and get it right," and they did, and came
You're
out.
so diplomatic saying they regrouped. I said they woke up, is what I like to
Yeah,
say. Yes,
well,
yes,
it was basically like I'm sure they got a wake up
I
call.
think they did. I think they did.
I'm sure I'm
I
sure
think they
there was
did.
some strong suggestions made as to the way they needed to play in
Yes.
the third period.
We talked about that sitting in the stands at that intermission there too. Something else that stood out to me again, it's just training camp, was the speed of this team.
Yes.
Seemed to
Yeah.
be a little faster than previous teams to
Well,
getting
there's
up and down the ice. Everybody.
yes, well, and that's the thing is that it's not just forwards you got to look at. You got to look at
Yes.
those D that can get the puck out, get it up ice, and join the rush
There
and make
seemed to be an
things
emphasis
happen.
on that in camp of getting the puck up. No matter if you're a new guy that had only been at camp for the first time ever or whatever, too,
Right.
everybody was getting up the ice very quickly.
Well, no doubt, no doubt, and I think that's something that Brad and the staff have wanted to do with this group. And last year it was everyone learning each other,
Right.
learning the system. And it's like, okay, where am I supposed to go? Point A, B. Where am I supposed to go here? And I thought, yeah, you're going to have an adjustment to that. But now everyone's hitting the ground running,
It's in
and
the culture, yes.
it's like, okay, we know what's expected here. We know how the system works. We got to be ready from day one to go. And
Yeah.
I think you saw that in this camp this year and in
Yeah.
preseason. I'm looking forward to see how they come out of the gates this weekend
Me
because,
too.
I know how they looked in Prince George last year and it was disjointed. Uh,
Yes.
Moments of brilliance and moments of what are we doing out there?
Mhm.
I think that, I'm looking forward to a little less of the what are we doing out there moments this year.
Yes. When do you guys leave?
We'll leave Thursday. We're
Thursday?
practicing Thursday, and then we're on the bus, and then getting up to Kelowna by dinner time, and then
Nice.
gearing up Friday and Saturday back to backs.
Nice. We're excited.
Oh, well, I got to be ready. So
You'll
whether I want to be or not.
It's coming regardless.
Exactly.
get into the groove quickly. You're a
Yes,
professional. You've been doing it a long time.
oh, yeah, that's the funny thing is that people always ask me, say, "Oh, is it a big change going from one to the other?" And I go, "It really isn't. It really isn't. I
Yeah.
mean, I've done it so often, I know that when the season starts, it's like I get into the pregame show and I'm like, okay, get back, get back. And then within 2, 3 minutes of the first period after the pucks drop, it's like I've never left it. So,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to kind of be excited to see what this group comes out with in the game against Kelowna on Friday and then again on Saturday in Kamloops.
Yes.
Well, we
Us
look
too.
forward to it as well, and be sure to listen to Mike Boyle on 103.5 The Game on Friday and Saturday this weekend. Boyle, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it
Yeah.
as
Thanks,
always.
Mike. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen,
And
always a pleasure, and we look forward to doing it again soon, I hope.
We will,
absolutely, absolutely.
for
Yeah,
sure.
enjoy the rest of your night and go
Yeah.
Chiefs
Enjoy the
go.
evening.
Okay.
Get rested up.